Hello student, today we will discuss the next chapter of pharmaceutical jurisprudence, that is Pharmacy Act, which is came in year 1948. In this chapter we will discuss the introduction, objective, Pharmacy Council of India, functions of PCI, education regulation, state and joint state pharmacy council, registration of pharmacists and offences and penalties which has come into this chapter. This Pharmacy Act was a main recommendation which is given by the Drug Inquiry Committee, which is to be appointed under the chairmanship of Lieutenant Colonel Aryan Chopra in 1931. This committee suggests that there should be a central law to control drug and pharmacy profession in India. This committee recommended the development of Central Pharmacy Council and provisional means State Pharmacy Council for the regulation of pharmacy profession in India. This is also one of the most important recommendation which is given by the Health Survey and Development Committee, which is also called as Mudliar Committee, which is to be appointed under the chairmanship of Dr. A.L. Mudliar in 1946. The pharmacy that's result that the Pharmacy Act was comes into force in 4th March 1948. The main objective of this act to regulate the pharmacy profession and practice of pharmacy, to raise the status of pharmacy in India. The constitution of this Pharmacy Council of India responsible for evolving the education standard and regulation for course of pharmacy through education's regulation. The Constitution of State Pharmacy Council of India for registration of pharmacists and for regulating their professional activities. The Pharmacy Council of India, the first Pharmacy Council of India was constituted in a year by the central government in 1949. Pharmacy Council of India is reconstituted every 5 years. The PCI composed of three different type of members. That is, in that first is elected member, second is nominated member, and third is ex officio member. Elected member consists of 6 members. Out of these 6, there should be one at least. One at least should be the teacher, which have specialization in pharmacy, pharmaceutical chemistry, pharmacognosy, or pharmacology, which is to be elected by University Grant Commission. That is UGC. The one member who is elected by Medicinal Council of India, one member who is elected by State Pharmacy Council, who shall be a registered pharmacist. In the nominated member, these also consist of 6 members, which is to be nominated by central government among themselves. At least 4 shall be possessing a degree or diploma in pharmacy and engage in practice of pharmacy or pharmaceutical chemistry. One should be a representative of University Grant Commission, and one is a member of All India Council for Technical Education. One member is from each state, which is nominated by state government, who shall be a registered pharmacist. In ex officio member consist of the Director of General Health Service, the Director of Central Drug Laboratory, and the Drug Controller of India. President and Vice President of PCI, which are elected by member of council among themselves as a President and Vice President, who can hold the office for the term of 5 years. They are eligible for re-elections. This nomination or elected member may at any time resign his membership by writing his application to the President. The nominated or elected members shall be deemed to have vacant their seat without any excuse from 3 consecutive meetings. A casual vacancy in Central Council shall be filled by fresh nominations or election, and the person who will be nominated or elected to fill the vacancy hold the office only for the remainder period of time. The member of Central Council shall be eligible for renomination or re-election. The functions of PCI includes: the first is to prescribe the minimum standard of education which is to be required as a pharmacist, to regulate the minimum education regulation, to recognize qualification granted outside the territory to which the Pharmacy Act 1948 extend for the purpose of qualifying the registration under this act, to compile and maintain the central register. All other function which is to be required for the furtherance to possess the objective of this Pharmacy Act throughout the country. The education regulation. The Pharmacy Council of India, after approval of central government, make a regulation which prescribe minimum standard of education which is to be required for qualification as a pharmacist, which is called as a education regulation, which is came in year 1991. According to this education regulation, which prescribe the minimum education qualification which is to be required for admission to the course of pharmacy, the nature and period of study and practical training to be undertaken after completion of course, the equipment and facilities to be provided by the institute to the students, the subject of examination and their standards. It also recommend the minimum facilities to be fulfilled by institution for the conduct of examination and practical training. It also recommend the various conditions to be fulfilled by authorities holding approved examinations. Approval of institution or authorities providing course of study and examination. For this approval, any authority or institution in a state to conduct a course of pharmacist or to hold an examination in pharmacy may apply to the central council for the approval. In a next step, that is inspection, the central council then depute their inspector to that particular institution as well as their examination pattern. The inspector then submit their report to the council regarding the efficacy of that institution. In a next step, that is approval. Only after getting the satisfactory report, the council then declare the approval by publishing in an official gazette. If that executive committee report of the central council that approval course of study or approved examination does not continue to be confirmatory with the education regulation, the central council shall give a notice to that authority or that particular institution. The said authority shall make their representation within 3 months from the receipt of such a notice and forward to the central council through the state government. Then, declaration. After fulfilling the criteria, the council may declare the course of study or the examination shall be deemed to be approved. Now, approval of qualification granted outside the India. The qualification in pharmacy which is to be granted outside the India can be recognized by PCI. This is applicable to Indian citizens. The citizen of other countries can be eligible for the registration when an Indian national holding the same qualification is to be allowed to enter the practice in country. Registration of pharmacists. For the registration, the PCI of India is required to be maintain a central register. Each state council has to supply 5 copies of their registrar for the state to the central council after the first day of April of each year. The register has to be maintained by the registrar of PCI to revise suitably from time to time, and it should be published in a Gazette of India. State Pharmacy Council. The constitution of the State Pharmacy Council also contains three types of member, which in the first is elected, which consists of 6 members, by which there should be a registered pharmacist of state. There one member should be elected by registered and medicinal council of that state. Then the second category is nominated member. In that 5 members which is to be nominated by the state government, of whom at least 3 should hold a degree or diploma in pharmacy. Ex officio member consists of chief administrative medical officer of the state, official in charge of drug control administration of state, and government analyst. Joint State Pharmacy Council. The Joint State Pharmacy Council consists of 2 or more states which is enter into an agreement to make a Joint State Pharmacy Council. In that, the first category consists of elected member. In that, there are about 6 members which has to be elected by the registered pharmacist of each participating state. Means the 3 members from each state. 1 member which is to be elected by medicinal council of the state from each participating state. Then the next category is nominated member. In that, 2 to 4 members were nominated by each state and government from the person who hold a degree or diploma in pharmacy. Ex officio member consists of chief administrative medical officer of each participating state, the officer in charge of drug control administration of each participating state, and government analyst of each participating state. Election and term of office. The president and vice president are elected by the member from among themselves. The period of their term is about 5 years. The casual vacancy in council is to be usually filled by the fresh nominations or election. The member are eligible for re-elections and they possess a consecutive committee similar to the central council. The functions of state and non-state pharmacy councils includes that they inspect any premises where drugs are compounded and dispensed. They may can require they inquire whether the dispensing and compounding of drug is done by registered pharmacists or not. They also made a institution prosecution under the order of executive committee of state council and other essential powers. Registration of pharmacist. The preparation and maintenance of registrar. The registrar shall include the following particulars, which includes the full name of and residential address of that registered person, the date of his first admission to the registrar, his qualification for registration, his professional address, and other particulars which are to be prescribed. Qualification for registration as pharmacist in first registrars. There should a person who has to be attained age of 18 years shall be entitled on payment of prescribed fees to have his name entered in a first registrar if he resides or carries on a business or profession of pharmacy in state. The person must hold degree or diploma in pharmacy or pharmaceutical chemistry or chemist and druggist diploma of Indian university or state government prescribed qualification which is to be granted by authority outside the India. He may also hold a degree of Indian university other than a degree in pharmacy or pharmaceutical chemistry and has engaged in a compounding of drug in hospital or dispensary or any other place in which drugs are regularly dispensed or prescription of medical practitioner for total period of not less than 3 years. He has passed an examination which is to be recognized by the state government for compounder and dispenser. He has also been engaged in a compounding of drug in a hospital or dispensing or other place in which drugs are regularly dispensed or a prescription of medicinal practitioner for total period of not less than 5 years prior to the date notified, which is comes in a section 30. The special provision for registration of certain persons include the name of dispensed person who have been carrying business or profession of pharmacy as their principal name of livelihood from a date of prior to 4th day of March 1948 who satisfy the all condition for registration which is to be set out in section 31. The name of person who resides in the area which is subsequently become a territory of India and who satisfy condition of registration as set out in this section. Qualification for entry in registrar, there is he or she hold a diploma in pharmacy or pharmaceutical chemistry. He or she hold a degree in Indian university or other than pharmacy and has been engaged in compounding and drug in hospital dispensary for total period of not less than 3 years. He should be passed an examination which is to be recognized as adequate by state government for a compenser or dispenser. Entry and removal of name. For the entry of name, all applicant for registration should be addressed to the registrar of State Pharmacy Council. If the applicant has a requisite qualification for registration, he shall direct his name to the entered in a registrar. Upon entry, the certificate of registration is issued. Removal of name can be carried out when there is a registration is happened by error if he has been convinced of any offense in any professional aspect. 30 days period for appealing and surrender of certificate of registration and publication in an official gazette. Printing of registrar. It is done on a first day of April, which is subsequent to the commencement of Pharmacy Act 1959. Thereafter, each year, 1st April, registrar will be arranged for a reprinting showing supplement to the registrar. These supplements and registrar are deemed to be proof that the person whose name are contained therein are registered pharmacist. Renewal fees. The state government by notification in their official gazette direct that the retention of the name in a registrar. In order to retain the name in registrar, renewal fees shall be paid to the state government as may be prescribed. Where a renewal fees is not paid by due date, the registrar shall remove the name of their defaulter from the registrar. On payment of renewal fees, the registrar shall issue a receipt, and such a receipt shall be proof of renewal of registration. The offences and penalties which are comes under this act include in that first offence is falsely claimed to be registered pharmacist. For that, the penalties include fine up to the rupees 500 and subsequent conviction that includes fine up to the 1000 or 6 month imprisonment. In a second case, that is dispensing by an unregistered pharmacist, that is a 6 month of imprisonment or fine up to the 1000 or both. In a third case, that is failure to surrender the certificate of registration, there is a fine up to rupees 50. And obstruction of state pharmacy council inspector includes the penalties of imprisonment of 6 months or fine up to the 1000 or both. Thank you.